Today I'm going to show you how to put a tranny cooler into a vehicle, in particular this 1979 Dodge camper. The reason I'm going to put one in here is because last summer we took this camper over, quite a few mountain passes in Colorado. And we were about to head up the first one right through Rocky Mountain National Park, and my sister asked me, so what do you think the weak link is on this particular vehicle? And I said to her, I don't really know. I guess if there was one, I'd probably have worked on it by now, but I didn't really know. It turns out, as we drove up the mountains, it became very obvious what the potential weak link was, and that was the transmission. It worked great. It's a torque flight, 727 torque flight. They're known for working really great, but I did overheat it a little bit, and because of that, the transmission fluid kind of got burnt. And so I'm going to replace the transmission fluid. I'll put that in the next video. But in this video, I'm going to show you how to put a tranny cooler on here because I want to be able to use the fluid for more than kind of one summer. So I'm going to put that on here, and then in the next video, I'm going to replace the transmission fluid itself and put a new filter in it. This is a Dodge 5.9 liter engine with a Dodge Torque Flight 727 transmission in it. It's got the 3-speed transmission on it without any overdrive, so this vehicle does not drive particularly fast, but it does get there eventually, and if you're a patient sort of person, it works out. So here's how it went. So I meant to videotape this, but I turned my camera off by accident. So to get this off, it's just screws and retainer clips here. So if you're wondering what was going on here, first of all, this is my carpet knife razor blade that I just happen to have laying around. Also, the tip broke off my little screwdriver tip bit here. And this is the air conditioner radiator, I guess you call it. So I'm basically going to file this away. I'm going to figure out how to install the transmission cooler right here. First of all, I want to show you my old air conditioner condenser pump, just in case you're interested. I pulled this out of the basement a minute ago just to show you if you're wondering what it looked like. Yeah, I took it off the top of the engine a while back when I redid the top of the engine, which I'll put in a later video. The transmission cooler itself is right here. It's a B&M supercooler, and this is the unit. I'll show you how big it is. It's not very big, but it's big enough. And basically, for these purposes, these are the attachment parts, hose clamps, bolts to bolt these to some metal, and then this is to connect it in line to your current fittings. So I'm going to show you how I'm going to do this on my particular vehicle. On these transmission coolers, what you want to do is have the transmission fluid come out the hot outlet from the transmission, go through the radiator, then go into the transmission cooler, and then back into the transmission. But to do that, you got to figure out which line is the out and which one is the in, and you can do that a couple different ways. You can test it by running your engine in drive for a little bit and then seeing which line is hot, and the hotter one is the outlet. Or you can just look down here to this nice little graph they have right here, and it says right on this one's A727, the line that's in the front of the transmission is the hot one. The line that is in the back of the transmission is the return one. So basically, you need to work with this one, trace it back from the transmission to your radiator, disconnect it, and that's where you put the fittings on. Hope some of that made sense. They did send pretty good instructions with this one. Hopefully they did with yours as well. So if you trace those lines back over here, this is the return, and this one up here is the oil out from the transmission. If you can just see that. This is the return. So I got to disconnect this and put these two awesome fixtures that they sent along in, or on. This one will go on this way, and I'll put a tube on it, a hose on it rather. And this one, I'm presuming, will go in this little piece here, and I'll put another hose on it leading up to the transmission cooler. Alright, so I got my 5/8 inch line wrench. It's got a bit of a box on there to keep it from stripping it out. Usually I find that these old vehicles aren't that tight, but we'll see. See, it just comes right off. I didn't even need that. And I got an oil pan down here. And just to state the obvious, I guess the reason I'm doing this is because I anticipate going through the mountains again, and I would like to be able to do that without burning up my oil again. This oil is kind of expensive. It's like $6-7 a quart, and I'd like the oil to last a little bit more. Oops, sorry about that. I'd like the oil to last a little bit more than one summer. So as you probably know, these things are pressure fitted, so you don't need a sealant. And of course, that ain't gonna fit because this camper is like 36 years old and this isn't. Alright, so we'll see how this all works out, but I'm gonna take this fitting out and go to the auto parts store and figure out what I can do to get the proper fitting in here. So I don't have a vehicle right now, so I'm going to get started on installing the transmission cooler. So I just discovered that these little nuts that sit along with the transmission cooler fit directly on these little bolts right here that are holding my radiator on. So I think I'm just going to rig these things up to connect to them, and I'll bend them up, and then I'll connect the other ones to here somehow, probably right through this spot here. I think that's good enough. It's in here pretty tight. It's probably not the best ever job that's been done. It looks a little funny, but I think that'll hold. So I don't know the fittings yet, but I want to get this hose on here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put both ends on here, and then I'll cut it in the middle later. Okay, so I got the transmission cooler on. I want to give you a bit of a close-up view to what actually happened here. So basically here this is. This will be the in, and this down here will be the out. And this is just mounted on here like this, couple brackets here, and then it's closed off yet. But then eventually that hose will go in between this fitting right here, which is the out of the radiator, and that'll be that. Okay, so I got a new fitting, and I'm working on taking this fitting out of the radiator, and I picked up this fitting, and I'm going to put this one in. This is the same thread, and I did wrap some Teflon tape around it. I'm not sure if I need to or not, but I did do that. And I put that one in there, and this is the fitting that came with the kit. I'm going to see if this works to put in here. It is not technically the right one. There's a bubble fitting in here, and this is another kind of fitting, but I'm going to see if it works, and I'll just keep a real close eye on it when I start it up to see if it works. So I have this hose, this loop of hose coming down from the tranny cooler, which is way up there, and I'm basically going to cut this and then attach it to here. And of course what I want to do is I want to have this go to the hose that goes to the top of the tranny cooler up there, and have this one go to the one that comes out of the bottom. So I got everything put back together and nothing leaks, and it works great. So that's a wrap. If you got any questions, please leave a note in the comments below, and I'll try to get back to you as soon as possible. If you like this video, I'm going to try to make more of these over the next year or so, so feel free to subscribe if you like. Otherwise, just thanks for watching. Hope it's helpful. Just in case anybody needs to see this, I'll leave this clip in of me putting the grill back on. That's pretty good. I only have 2 extra screws left, and I'm pretty much done for the day.